So here's my camera placement, and I am looking straight up over the gate. And crucially, I am going to be aligning my camera so it is going to be looking up with the bottom edge of the camera right over the top of the gate. And it's mostly going to be seeing up here the roof of the exit of this cave. I'll show you where I have my second side camera over here. It's over by this tree on the hillside, angled at the top of the cave. And so the bats are mostly going to be coming out on the higher half. I'm not too worried about getting the lower half of that cave. And so I'm framing the top half and mostly the left side. I did not see bats coming out the camera right side of the exit. Here's my camera setup on the outside for the second night of recording here at Sata Cave. The bats are going to be coming in from over here, curling around, and then up and out. And so I'm not able to get the entire exit, but I know the bats are coming in from this side. They're going to be coming out there, so we're going to be counting them as they stream off the edge of the screen on our left here and on the top. And then I'm trying to get the right edge of the field of view over here so I can see that part of the rock. And that's going to allow us to know if the bat is coming around this way back to the right, if it's going to circle back into the cave or exit out on the right. So I'm going to adjust my through tracker recorder software here to maximize the contrast between the bats in the background. So I have my camera set up and I'm at Sata Cave here. I have beautiful backdrop. It's relatively cold, but inside the cave is going to be colder. On the edge of the cave exit is going to be a little bit warmer, and then the vegetation up here is warmer still. So we want to basically null out that difference in the background and get as uniform gray background to black as possible in the background. So this is the view that you get if you're just using the camera by default, and this is your only option if you're not recording with the through tracker recorder software. You can't even adjust the settings that we have here in FLIR's software itself. So what we're going to do is you open it up and do the camera tuning, drop down here, and that will open up these windows, and we're going to go into custom settings, and that will give us two options. We have the brightness and the contrast. And so what I'm going to do at this site is go and drop the contrast all the way down. Takes a second to update. And that makes all of these highlights here between the vegetation and the rock, that really nullifies the difference there. So when we drop the brightness down, that will be a nice dark background. In contrast, if I increase the contrast here, I'll go all the way to the other side for dramatic effect. Then what's going to happen is we get all of these highlights of the vegetation, and even if we drop the brightness way down, then the highlights of that vegetation are still going to be really bright. And so that's not what we want. We want to drop the contrast and basically make all that vegetation disappear as much as we can. Can't always get it totally disappear, but you want to make that kind of fade into the background. And then we can make it a little bit darker. You can try to put like a heat pack or a phone in view of the camera. In this case, I know the bats are going to be really bright, and so I've got most of the background is almost black, which is fine, and then just that vegetation has some highlights on it, as you can see. It could be hard to track bats right over that vegetation, but over here we should be okay, and so we're just trying to do the best that we can, and that's going to dramatically improve the image quality once we start filming the bats. All right, the bats are really starting to come out, and you can see just what a difference it makes with the thermal camera.